can go ahead and get started. We can go on the record. There we go. Sorry. We can go on the record. Good afternoon. It is June 2nd, 2025, and the current time is around 1:15 p.m. The Missouri Public Service Commission has set this time for a local public hearing to give members of the public a chance to comment about the application in file number GR 2025-0107, which is captioned as "In the Matter of Spire, Missouri, Inc., doing business as Spire's request for authority to implement a general rate increase for natural gas service in the company's Missouri service areas." The Missouri Public Service Commission regulates investor-owned utility companies in Missouri and ensures that rates are just and reasonable. The Commission also regulates the quality of service and safety of the operations of investor-owned utilities. The Commission is made up of 5 commissioners, however, there are currently only 4. Chair Kayla Hahn and Commissioners Maida Coleman, Glenn Kolkmeyer, and John Mitchell. The commissioners are appointed by the governor to fixed terms and confirmed by the Senate. They employ a staff of engineers, accountants, attorneys, financial analysts, and other specialists in the field of utility regulation. With me today are Commissioner Coleman in person, as well as Chair Hahn and Commissioner Mitchell online. Commissioners, if you have any questions at any time, feel free to interrupt me and ask them. My name is Riley Fuel, and I'm the regulatory law judge presiding over this hearing. This is an official hearing of the Missouri Public Service Commission, and the statements and testimony of witnesses will be recorded by the court reporter and must be given under oath or affirmation. The Commission has not made any decisions in this case, and neither the Commissioners nor myself can answer any questions about the issues of the case today because the Commission must remain impartial until all evidence is presented. As we want to provide all attendees an adequate opportunity to speak this afternoon, we will limit the time for testimony to only 3 minutes. If you or someone you know would like to make additional comments, there is a comments tab that can be reached via the Commission's website at psc.mo.gov. On the right side of the home page, there's a link titled Submit Comments. You'll click on that link to submit your comments, making sure that you reference this case number, GR 2025-0107. There will also be another local public hearing tonight at the Shrewsbury City Center at 6 p.m., as well as 2 tomorrow at noon and 6 p.m., both of which are virtual. And there will be 3 other local public hearings, 2 on Wednesday in Kansas City at noon, and St. Joseph at 6 p.m., and 1 in Joplin at 6 p.m. on Thursday. If you or anyone you know would like to attend any of those other local public hearings, please let staff or OPC know before you leave here today to get further details. The court reporter is transcribing this hearing so that the Commission may review and read the comments. Commissioner Coleman, would you like to make any opening remarks?
Thank you. Thank you, Judge. Good afternoon, everyone. Thank you so much for attending this afternoon's local public hearing. I come to you on behalf of the commissioners here in person, but as you heard noted by the judge, there are other commissioners are online, and so on behalf of Chairwoman Kayla Hahn, we appreciate the fact that you have taken the time to come today to provide us with information about not only the service that's provided by Spire that you receive, but also your public testimony that gives us insight so that we can make the best decision possible. Although the other commissioners are not here in person, not only are they listening in, but they will also, just as I, be able to review the testimony that's received today. It is recorded. We are able to review that as often as we need to. Your comments are part of the official record, so we would be able to go back and evaluate everything that's been said. So again, we thank you for being here today and look forward to your testimony. Thank you very much. Thank you, Judge.
Thank you, Commissioner. And if the parties can enter their appearances, beginning with Spire.
Thank you, Your Honor. Good morning. Antonio Arias on behalf of Spire. Also, good morning to Commissioner Coleman, Chair, and the other commissioners on the line. With me at the table is Scott Weitzel and Vernita Rogers.
Thank you. And the Commission staff.
Carolyn Kerr on behalf of staff.
The Office of Public Counsel.
John Kleiser on behalf of the Office of Public Counsel.
And are there any interveners present who would like to enter their appearance? Okay. For those who would like to provide comments today, I'm going to call the names listed on the sign-up sheet in the order they appear. When I call your name, please come down to the podium. I will place you under oath and ask you to state and spell your name, then you can offer your comments to the commission. As I previously stated, we are limiting comments to 3 minutes today so that everyone present has an adequate opportunity to be heard. Also, please remain at the podium after your remarks until you have been excused because the commission may have some questions for you. If the attorneys have any questions, they can let me know at that time as well. Would Mahalet Pruitt Pittman come to the stand? And I apologize if I pronounce anyone's names wrong.
Yeah, thanks. Appreciate you.
You please raise your right hand. Do you solemnly swear or affirm that the comments you're about to give are the truth?
I do.
You may go ahead.
Hi, my name is Mahala Pruitt Pittman. Did you need me to spell it? Sorry.
For the court reporter, yes, please.
That's
Thank
Mahala Pruitt, Pruett dash Pittman, Pittman. And I am the Sierra Club Missouri chapter organizer, but I am here as a concerned community member and an individual. I'm grateful for the opportunity to speak at today's public hearing. Being a local organizer, I have spoken to energy-burdened communities. I've gone door to door in deep canvassing campaigns, and I'm hearing from struggling families in formerly redlined parts of our city. And the through line is very clear. The bills are far too high. When St. Louis families are dogpiled increasing utility prices, in addition to the rising prices of groceries and other necessities, they're forced to make difficult decisions, taking medications every other day, forced to work extra shifts, abandoning HVAC systems in heat waves, unplugging major appliances such as refrigerators, and hoping that their family's food is not compromised overnight. Directly related to heat and gas, leaving the oven open and on to heat their homes, or resorting to space heaters and portable heaters, which we know are fire hazards. Raising gas rates would only increase the dangerous lengths St. Louis families have to resort to in order to heat their homes, take hot showers, and prepare hot meals. Low-income families in St. Louis are already struggling to make ends meet, on top of recovering from a natural disaster that left families having lost many of their belongings and are now without homes. This rate increase could add up to approximately $186 per year, or $14 per month, on gas bills. And in case $14 a month does not seem like a lot, let's break down how that could go. So $14 could cover a loaf of bread, a gallon of milk, a dozen eggs, butter, and a box of cereal, some of the foundational items on a family's grocery list. $14 is 14 rides on the Metro bus, which is at least a week's worth of work commutes to work and home. It could be 5 rides on the trains. It could be 2 day passes for the Metro bus, even more than that for reduced fare. $14 could be lunch money for school-age children. It could be toiletries, hygiene supplies, school supplies, gas money. $14 could go towards the copay on a monthly refill of a much-needed medication. Considering what our communities are and have been going through, tornado recovery, the Ameren rate hike, rising grocery prices, more and more continues to take from communities, making it harder and harder just to survive. And then you consider that Spire saw increased profits last year, and you tell me who really needs the $14 in their pocket, the utility or the community? Thank you.
Thank you. Charmel Johnson?
Who can follow that? Thank you, Mahala. But I
Hold on one second. Can I swear you in?
spell my name.
I'd like to swear you in as well.
Oh, yes.
Yeah, if you can raise your right hand, thank you. Do you solemnly swear or affirm the comments you're about to give are the truth?
I do.
Thank you. And can you please state and spell your name for the court reporter?
Charmel Johnson, CHARMEL JOHNSON.
Thank you. You may proceed.
Yeah, Mahala pretty much covered it. As a senior citizen, I'm 74 and I'm still working because I don't want to have to rely on anybody. I don't want to have to go begging anywhere. I just want to be autonomous. And it's getting harder and harder to be that way. I think it was last summer, I went to, the summer before, I think, I'm not sure. But I went to Castle here in St. Louis. I think it's in Overland on Woodson Road to seek some aid for energy assistance. And it was the worst experience ever because Castle was still closed down for COVID. They had signs that you couldn't enter the building except to drop your application on a table. There was a hostile security guard, put it over there. It's not that I don't like asking from these programs energy assistance. I do not. It's humiliating. But I had to do it. And so I was sent a letter saying that due to something that I had overlooked to fill out, my application was denied. And you have until this to get the information to us. And I think it was the day after that letter was sent to me, the day after the expiration date. So I wasn't able to get energy assistance. I had to do something worse. I had to ask my grandchildren to help me, which they did, and it got me through until I could go back to driving my little school bus when school started. But I saw a YouTube a long time ago, and it was called The Corporation. And it opened my eyes to a lot of things, such as external expenses. They're called external expenses that corporations pass on to their consumers or to the government or wherever expenses that technically they're responsible for. Now, I'm not kidding. If something happened in my life and it was a major event and I couldn't pay my car insurance and I came to you, sir, and put, the new rate on your desk because it had gone up, you would look at me like I'm crazy. And that's pretty much the way I look at Spire and Ameren when they come year after year, and they are never denied these rates that they ask for. Nobody has the will to say no. They somehow make it make sense to the Public Service Commission. So I ask that you all look at this more fairly this time and realize the impact that it's having on the poor, because the poor are getting the same rates that the wealthy, that the people in Ladue and Glendale and, are getting. And that's not fair, because when I went to Castle, I had to prove my need. I had to really prove it, and I'm sure they went over everything with a fine-tooth comb. They didn't just let me come in there and say, I need this, Well, Spire is saying, we need this. I don't know. They're hooking meters up to people's houses that they didn't ask for. In other areas, the meters are so big, so rusted out, like my apartment complex, for one. You can come and take a look. It looks like sometimes I'm just nervous sleeping because I don't know if those meters are going to blow. I just don't know. But I feel that if you own a corporation and you run that corporation, you should do so responsibly, where you're not asking the public, oh, you guys really need to chip in and help us with this. I have a hard time helping somebody that's making $1.8 million a year. And oh, by the way, sir, I just got on the internet, thank God for the internet. I asked you, where does your pipes come from? Where do you get your pipes from? And you said, I don't know. And I don't trust I don't know answers. So I went on the internet and found out that most pipes, such as the kind that you use, are imported from China, Italy, and France. You may not be doing it, but I don't see how you wouldn't, because when other energy companies are doing this. But I don't want to be here a year from now trying to say, I don't want a 30% rate increase because of the tariffs. So I hope this gentleman in the middle, he said that you all are getting them from the United States. I hope you look that up and make sure that you are partnering with United States companies to get your pipes. That's all I have for today. Thank you.
Thank you. Sheila Steed. Oh, sorry. Julia Allen, sorry. Skipped one. Please raise your right hand. Do you solemnly swear or affirm that the comments you're about to give are the truth?
Yes.
Can you please state and spell your name for the record?
Julia Allen, Juliaallen.
All right, you may proceed.
First of all, to the commissioners, I feel like I have a new job, and that's to testify at these hearings. Having said that, I also want to say I want to recognize what the utility companies have done with their especially with their customer service department. They have a very good customer service department. They do go out of their way to try and help people when people do call in. However, on the other side, and I'm not trying to disrespect anybody or anybody's organization or what organizations are doing for other people, my complaint is the middle class is being squeezed. The middle class in this country is paying for everything, okay? And this is just my personal viewpoint. The way I look at it is that the people who, I would say in the upper 10%, they don't have to worry about food, gas, lights, electrics. People who meet the low-income guidelines, a lot of the times you have these programs that are going to take care of their bills. And sometimes the programs are very generous. However, people in the middle class, which for some of the programs for people to qualify in the state of Missouri, if you make $10 over that income level, you don't qualify for anything. But the middle class, our tax dollars are paying for everything, for everybody. We're the ones that are being squeezed to death. Nobody ever talks about how this affects the middle class. And I think the middle class is the biggest tax-paying group in the United States. It has nothing to do with age or anything. It's about your income and where you fall in the income group. And I think it's time that utilities take into consideration, at least those people, say, who make $100 more. I know this is really in my mind, about a major policy change, but people who are making, say, in Missouri, because we have such a low level for poverty that it's really ridiculous when you look at other states. I'm against the rate increase. I understand that you have to have funds in order to do business. However, at this time and point, I just don't see you getting a 15%, almost a 16% rate increase. I understand also that once all of this is done and it goes back, all the testimonies go back, Public Service Commission is going to make a decision. But it's not going to be a decision to not give them a rate increase. So I'm just saying, you know, take the middle class people into consideration. They're the ones that are also suffering. They have bills to pay, food, medicine. It's nobody ever talks about that. And like I said, I'm not trying to disrespect anybody's organization or what people are doing for people who have lower incomes. The middle class needs to be thought about too. And like I said, I am completely against the rate increase, but I know in the end that Spire, just like Ameren, they're going to get some kind of rate increase. So when you're thinking about the percent, think about the people in the middle who are actually really paying their tax dollars to support programs at Ameren, to support programs at Spire. Our tax money, that's our tax money in my eyesight. The other thing I also want to—
if you can complete your thought. Sorry, you're at the
Okay.
3-minute
My
mark.
other thought is this. In my years, the only utility that's actually really helped the middle class is the Metropolitan Sewer District. And that's because of their income limits. They're much higher. So thank you.
Thank you. Sheila Steed.
Good afternoon. That's fine. Okay.
Please raise your right hand. Do you solemnly swear or affirm the comments you're about to give are the truth?
Yes.
Thank you. Can you please state and spell your name for the record?
Sheila Steed, Sheila Steed.
Thank you. You may proceed.
Okay, I just want to let you guys know, I think Spire does a great job, okay? I am 75 years old. I have, of course, been with Spire ever since I've been an adult. I have also used currently their budget plan, which I have been on there for years. And that's great in helping, especially me as a senior, to be able to pay my bill, because the worst thing in the world is to get a bill and open it or get it on the internet and see it's more than what I expected. So that is one great thing that I do have to commend them for. Now, in order for me to continue to live and afford everything that's going on, that is going up, my cousin and I have decided to live together in order to accomplish this. I would not be able to do it on my own. I just get Social Security, and that's all I live on. So if it was just me and I own my own home, so all of the repairs come, okay, I got to consider those too. If something happens to that home, I'm responsible for it. So to tell me that if it's something that you think my lines aren't working right or they should be improved, I got to pay for it, I don't think that's fair either. I have been with Ameren for so long. I remember the meters coming, the meter readers. We don't have them anymore. If they can't have access, you know, I remember them calling, letting us know when they're coming so they can have access. And I know everything gets, what do you call it, modernized or whatever, but I had spoke earlier about the meter on my house, which that's where the old one was, so I said put that one there. It is a monstrosity, okay? But it's a means to an end, and I know we have to have it. Like I said, the budget is a lifesaver for me. And with my age, like I said, I'm 75, and I've seen all of the changes, you know, and I see how the utility companies are working together with this devastation we've had, which I have not seen in my entire life. So I just want to say that I am against it because that 14% can really help me a lot. Thank you.
Thank you. Dana Gray.
Thank you.
Please raise your right hand. Do you solemnly swear or affirm the comments you're about to give are the truth?
I do.
Can you please state and spell your name for the record?
Dana, D-A-N-A, Gray, G-R-A-Y.
What would you like to tell the commission?
I'm here representing Tower Grove Community Development Corporation. We're an affordable housing provider in the city of St. Louis, and we represent working class families that earn roughly 30 to 80% of the area median income, though the majority of the city of St. Louis households are low to moderate income. The working class families today can no longer continue to absorb increases in their utility costs, and I'd like to ask the commission to also consider that we are soon facing an end to federally funded LIHEAP and weatherization programs, which I'm told will only have funding through the end of August. And then I would like to ask the commission to oppose decoupling that's been requested by Spire, which would allow them to increase rates in between rate cases. That's all.
Thank you. Joy Denise Dabney. Will you please raise your right hand? Do you solemnly swear or affirm the comments you're about to give are the truth?
Yes, I do.
Can you please state and spell your name for the record?
Joy Denise Dabney, Joy DENISEDABNEY.
Thank you. What would you like to tell the commission?
So as I mentioned earlier, I am the founder and director of a non-for-profit called AFASA Ministries. I am also the 2024 sheriff candidate for St. Louis City. And there's a very important reason on why I mentioned that. First, I would like to say that honestly, one change that should be made is the question and answering portion should be 3 minutes and the testimony portion should be 5 minutes, especially seeing as how you say that the testimony portion holds more weight, is more bearing. So just a suggestion. So I'm gonna try to squeeze all this in 3 minutes. As I stated earlier, with my non-for-profit, I have a lot of clients who have had issues with their utilities being disconnected. And as you mentioned earlier, you are partnered with several other non-for-profit organizations across the city and county. Here's the problem with that. Several of those organizations are running out of funding. As of right now, as a matter of fact, at least 90% of those organizations do not have the adequate funding to be able to assist everyone. Me personally, myself, with my non-for-profit, I like to say that I'm a one-woman show. I actually have gone into my own personal bank account to assist my clients. As a non-for-profit, I don't receive a lot of donations. I actually put out more than I get in, as it should be with non-for-profits. A lot of non-for-profits, it's the other way around. They're taking in more than what they're giving out, and I'm against that. But with that being said, another question that I had asked, and I don't know if you all heard, that you may have not had to deal with a situation experience of having to boil or microwave your water because your gas is turned off to do simple household chores or bathe your children, you know, and so that is an issue that I believe a lot of people are unaware. When I asked the question, every one of you all said you had never experienced that. So that means you can't have empathy for something you don't understand. And that's okay. But I just wanted to bring awareness for that. The reason that I mentioned my run in 2024 for sheriff is because something that I had stated at several of my forums, and you know, someone had made the mention of the CEO making what his salary was. I, as a candidate, was still appalled at the salary of the sheriff, and I made the suggestion. I said, start with me. Lower my salary, cut my salary in half. If cutting my salary in half will put back out the funds that's needed for the community, then I'm willing to take that loss. And not to say that, you know, we expect your CEO to not, you know, accept what his salary is, but sometimes we have to figure out where do we start? And if I don't consider myself anything but middle class. I actually come from poverty. So if I can be in a situation where I go into my own bank account to help my community, then why can't a large corporation such as Spire figure out more recourses for that to be able to help our community? So, thank you very much.
Thank you. Oh. Ma'am, you come back to the podium.
I'm not. This makes so much more sense. Good afternoon, Ms. Dabney.
Good afternoon.
I saw your name on the election-related stuff, so it's good to put a face with the name. But would you tell me again the name of your nonprofit?
AFASA Ministries.
Spell it for me, please.
As AFAASA, and that stands for Arthur's Fight Against Autism and 7 Afflictions, because my baby brother was a victim of illegal organ harvesting. So I founded the non-for-profit in 2019 because of that.
Thank you. Thanks very much.
Yes, ma'am. Thank you.
Jennifer Vogt. Do you solemnly swear or affirm the comments you're about to give are the truth?
I do.
Can you please state and spell your name for the record?
Jennifer Vogt, Jennnifer, VOGT.
You may proceed.
Good afternoon. Thank you for having this opportunity to speak. I'm a customer from O'Fallon, Missouri, and I'm very concerned about a 15% increase. I think that's way too high for the community to absorb. If you look at the salaries of the top officials at Spire, and they're getting percentages of 5% increases on top of that. A 15% increase on the people is way too much. And the comments about 2 to 3 million for the line workers getting, I feel like the line workers need to get more money. I am a lifelong customer of Spire. I have nothing bad to say about the company, but I do question their efficiencies and operations. We are last summer, our meter got replaced in a 9-year-old home. And it made no sense to us that 9-year-old equipment should be replaced. So I don't think they have a good plan for being efficient and replacing the oldest equipment and kind of spanning things out in a better way to manage their cost. So because of that, I am very leery that their other costs and expenses are not managed properly. And I don't think this kind of a forum, when you have a pie chart with 81% and we don't see what is in any of those percentages, I also question seeing not enough information, not enough transparency for the public of where the money goes. And I'm questioning Spire advertisement that I see. I don't have any other choice but to use Spire. So why do we spend money on advertising? So I would just like to say I'm against the rate increase, and I think that Spire needs to absorb more of the cost. We don't get an upfront opinion on how they spend their money, and they shouldn't be able to come and ask for that high of a price afterwards. Thank you.
Thank you. Joan Lane.
There, okay. Good afternoon.
Good afternoon. Would you please raise your right hand? Do you solemnly swear or affirm the comments you're about to give are the truth?
I do.
Thank you. Can you please state and spell your name for the record?
Joan Lane, Joanlane.
You may proceed.
I've been in my home for 32 years, and I have gotten a new furnace because the old furnace was eating up high expenditures. And now when I got my new furnace 7 years ago, my heat bill went down, and I was so happy. Now, each year since 2022, the bill has been going up. Last year, my highest bill was $300. This year is $500. And it took me 2 months to pay that off. And I'm still trying to take care of food, heat, everything that a homeowner has to do. They put a freeze on our taxes, which I thought was good for senior citizens. So Spire need to put a freeze on senior citizen spending for rates. Also, we have had rates from MSD, from Spire, from Amarin, and for groceries, and for our everyday living taxes. So we are really struggling as a middle-class person to take care of our bills and be independent, because we do not want our children to end up taking care of us. And this spiral jump is really too high. If they even be more reasonable with a 2%, that would be even better. Thank you.
Thank you. Jim Stites.
Hello.
Hello.
Yeah, thank you. Hello.
Hi.
Jim Steitz, Steitz, and I live in South City.
Can I swear you in?
I'm sorry? Yes.
Do you solemnly swear or affirm that the comments you're about to give are the truth?
Absolutely.
Thank you. You may proceed.
One small point, one larger point. The small point is that we were advised in Spire's information packet that we have the low-income home energy assistance program available to us. I presume this was prepared before recent events. This program no longer exists unless the courts move with uncharacteristic speed, outpacing this White House. This has been deleted and fed into the wood chipper, as they say. So insofar as PSC is counting upon LIHEAP to alleviate the impact of this rate increase on your customers, you should put this out of your mind entirely. It's not relevant. And anything else that relies upon federal funding should be regarded as highly uncertain at best. My larger point is a thought I developed in inquiring as to why Spire's costs per unit time per customer are increasing. I didn't get clarity on that initially. However, in looking at that huge and conveniently unpartitioned orange wedge there, I am concerned and suspicious that we're actually paying for the expansion and build out of more fossil methane infrastructure. That is, more pipelines hooked up to more gas furnaces, more gas stoves out in St. Charles or wherever. Particularly in light of the law recently enacted that allows Spire to recoup its investments ahead of time rather than after the fact, amounting to a loan that we have the privilege of giving Spire. These gas appliances have been ferociously promoted by the fossil methane trade lobby over and against more sane appliances like induction stoves, heat pumps, etc. Besides the economic unfairness of this on a microeconomic level, this is not an allowable, should not be an allowable cost because scientists have told us that this is something that we absolutely cannot do if we wish for this planet to be in one piece and to sustain a climate that will afford our children a quality of life that we should wish for them if we do in fact love them. Spire should not be allowed to spend money on that. You should only be allowed to spend money on things such as patching the gigantic gas leak that I encountered on my way here at Jamieson and Arsenal and smelled from 100 feet away opposite a fire truck that had the street blocked off. Ideally prevent that, in fact. In fact, that should be really the only increase that Spire should be allowed. This would be to increase your surveillance, repair, and speed and comprehensiveness of repair of leaks on your existing infrastructure. Beyond those costs, your profit margin really should be set with respect not to an arbitrary expectation of investors, but with respect to the actual real physical world in which by the end of the century, we really should presume that Spire will not exist in its current form, because this whole business of extracting millions of years worth of fossilized hydrocarbons from the ground and burning that to heat things and then dumping the carbon back into the atmosphere is a habit that we will have gotten over. Scientists have told us that we must do this. They are telling us this in unequivocally, unambiguously, and with ever increasing levels of panic in their voice. And that overarching reality really is, to coin a phrase, the elephant in the room that should be informing every other thought we have concerning this rate increase and everything else concerning Spire. Thanks.
Thank you. Legal Services of Eastern Missouri. Can you please raise your right hand? Do you swear or affirm that the comments you're about to give are the truth?
I do.
And can you please state and spell your name for the record?
Yes, my name is Kimberly Finnegan, Kimberly Finnegan.
Okay. You may proceed.
So as I just stated, my name is Kimberly Finnegan. I'm a licensed attorney and clinical social worker with Legal Services of Eastern Missouri. I'm here today with several of my colleagues, and we have prepared written testimony to submit in this case as well, but would like to provide those remarks to you all today. Since 1956, Legal Services has provided free legal representation and education to more than 1 million low-income households with civil legal issues representing housing law, family law, public benefits, consumer fraud, healthcare, domestic violence. We span 5 offices in 21 counties in the city of St. Louis and Missouri, going all the way from the Iowa border to Potosi. And of the clients that we serve, for every 100 people that contact us, we have to turn away 70 of those people. And so we work to advance justice through our legal representation, our education, and supportive services. We partner with the community to improve lives, promote fairness, and create opportunities for those who are in need. And given our knowledge and understanding of how current Spire rates impact clients across Eastern Missouri, Legal Services of Eastern Missouri believes that the request filed by Spire on November 25th, 2024, with a proposed rate increase of approximately 15%, which would raise the average customer's bill $14 per month, will further harm our client population. Utility access and affordability are central to our mission because our clients are already unfairly and disproportionately carrying the burden of high energy costs. And this comes with grave risks to their health. And this is before any proposed rate increases. Legal Services continues to see an influx in the number of clients and communities struggling to afford basic utilities, despite our best efforts to connect them with assistance programs. And most of the households that are experiencing housing issues are simultaneously experiencing issues keeping up with their utility bills. It's a systemic failure and an impossible choice between maintaining natural gas service and meeting their basic needs for health, safety, and well-being. And as we know, on May 16th, the St. Louis area was impacted by a tornado that devastated the region, causing death to 5 people and damage to more than 5,000 buildings. It left many area residents without those essential utility services. It is undisputed that the aftermath of a storm not only leaves behind that physical damage, but impacts the mental health of community members. And
if you can complete your thought, we can take that as a commission exhibit if you said it's written down.
I believe we have submitted it electronically.
Okay.
But I can conclude. So we just want you to take note that with the storms impacting the area, our clients are experiencing post-traumatic stress disorder and a heightened level of stress that they have not experienced before, coupled with those rising utility costs. And we ask the Public Service Commission today to oppose that rate increase on behalf of our low-income clients and those we serve throughout the community. Thank you.
Thank you. Bruce, I'm not sure your last name. Is it Fender? Complete guess. Is there a Bruce? Okay. Circle back. Frederick Doss. Do you solemnly swear or affirm the comments you're about to give are the truth?
I do.
Can you please state and spell your name for the record?
My name is Frederick Doss, Fredrick Doss.
You may proceed.
I appreciate the opportunity to speak today. Thank you so much. In this case, Spire is requesting an average increase of $14 a month for residential customers. For many households like mine, that's probably a manageable cost. I'm single, I'm able-bodied, and I got no kids. But for many low-income families, $14 represents a real hardship. To put it in perspective, SNAP benefits provide about $6 per day per person for food. So this rate increase would be the equivalent to the cost of 5 or 6 meals each month, and that trade-off is very real for many Missourians. Spire says the increase is needed for infrastructure improvement and operating costs. But over the last decade, the company has already received multiple rate increases, each with the same stated purpose. During that time, Spire's operating revenue in Missouri, this is over the last 10 years, has grown from under $500 million to over $1 billion. It's collecting $54 million annually through the ISRS surcharge for system replacements. So what you're asking for, we're already paying for. Meanwhile, Spire also reported nearly $350 million in net income last year. And I just want to say that again, $350 million in net income. For anyone who's counting, that's $1 million a day. $1 million a day. That's not a sign of financial distress. That's a sign of financial health, not a company in distress. And while profit is a normal and expected part of a regulated utilities operations, we get it. It's important to make profit. It's also important to ask whether this new increase is necessary and fair, especially given the economic pressures customers are facing. It's also worth noting that the commission itself recently ordered Spire to improve customer service practices after widespread reports of disconnections and delays in reconnections. So it's taking longer to reconnect the folks that have been disconnected. So before any further increase is approved, the public deserves assurance that these issues are being addressed and that current revenues are being used effectively. So given all of this context, I think this rate proposal feels a bit out of step with the economic reality for many of Spire's customers. And it's inconsistent with the expectations of a regulated monopoly because, as someone mentioned earlier, you advertise, but we don't have a choice. We have to buy our services from you. So I respectfully urge the commissioners to take a close look at the full picture and consider denying this request. Thank you for your time.
Thank you. Jessica Lambert. Do you solemnly swear or affirm that the comments you're about to give are the truth?
Yes, I do. And my name is Jessica Lambrecht, Jessica, Lambrecht, Lambrecht. Good afternoon, commissioners. I'm a homeowner in Missouri who will be directly impacted by Spire's proposed rate increase. Over the last several years, I've invested nearly $30,000 in energy efficiency upgrades to my St. Louis City home that's over 100 years old. Things like a new roof, added insulation, and a new HVAC system, all of which is regularly noted on Spire's reminders of how to create a more efficient home. So I've done all of these things, but I cannot afford to continue with the upgrades. I also want to note that I make well above the median average household income in the state of Missouri, and I am denied through banking and other loan office options to be able to make these improvements on my home that I'm regularly encouraged to do by Spire and other organizations. So I've done everything I can to reduce my gas usage, both to lower my bills and to reduce my household's emissions. Yet even with those upgrades, my monthly energy costs are still significant. If I simply cannot afford to make any more of the improvements that Spire recommends to customers while making the above median average household income, I doubt many other Spire customers can as well. So I have the means to make these major upgrades, and I'm at the limit of what I can do. How can we expect renters, low-income families, and homeowners with fewer resources to shoulder another rate increase? Many folks have no control over the efficiency of their homes in terms of renters, and many landlords aren't incentivized to make these improvements, causing families to have to pay higher bills. So without strong programs and financial assistance to help people reduce their gas consumption, asking folks to pay more each month feels out of step with the reality on the ground. We tell folks to use less gas, but we haven't made it financially possible for many of them to do so. In a city with so many older homes that often need improvements to make heating and cooling efficient, we're wasting gas resources, and this will continue to happen regardless of the cash flow that Spire will gain. This is not an efficient use of the limited energy resource we have, and now we're asking folks to pay even more for a resource we're already struggling to afford. If we're going to raise rates, we need to pair that with real investments in affordability, efficiency, and assistance. Otherwise, we're just shifting more burden onto the very people who have had the least ability to adapt. I urge the Commission to consider the broader context of this rate increase and to deny the request unless and until there's a comprehensive plan in place to help all customers reduce this energy burden. Thank you for your time.
Thank you.
Thank you. Kathleen Herod. Do you solemnly swear or affirm that the comments you are about to give are the truth?
Yes.
Can you please state and spell your name for the record?
Kathleen Herod, Kathleen-Herod.
You may proceed.
My name is Kathleen Herod, and I am a disabled person, individual, and I just wanted to say that the 15% increase is a lot. I am already struggling. In my hand, I have a stack of my Spire bills because over the last few months, and I'm sorry, but I do have a cognitive disability, so I might stumble a lot. But over the last few months, I do have a PCA that comes to my home to assist me, and we've been struggling just to figure out the gas bill. The balance was zero, and then it showed up $400 and something. And I had to pay it immediately, as in today. And I didn't have that. And when I called to speak to customer service, they were like, no, you just got to pay it today. Well, I don't have anybody to help me today. And I have a list of people that I can call, but they don't have money. So that goes that the end of the day, is Spire working with the people that they serve. I am a human being, but I'm not being treated as a human being for a service that I am paying for. The price increase is going to affect me. I'm on a very limited income since my accident and became disabled. Fortunately, I do have children who, you know, they're doing pretty good and they do help me. I don't want to call my children every month for assistance. That they went to college to take care of their families and not necessarily me because of increase in bills that we don't have to have. If the company was not seeing a huge profit, then I could see them saying, hey, look, we got to raise your rates. But if you're receiving a nice profit, why are you passing the cost on to me for me to pay every month? That's your company. You got to figure out what you got to do in your finances to shore up your company, since it is a public traded company, I understand. So I understand you want to return an ROI to your investors, but don't put the burden on the people who are out here trying to survive every day. And I am literally trying to survive every day. So keep that in mind as you go through all of that. And luckily enough, when I stepped out in the hallway, they were able to assist me a little bit, but I really want Spire to keep in mind that not everybody is wealthy or well off. You know, at a point in time in my life, we had at least over $100,000 in income. That's not the situation right now. It is a day-to-day situation. And if you want to try to eat healthy and not eat junk food and be able to buy your apples and bananas and all of that, $14 is a lot. Eggs are very expensive. We all know that. So all I'm asking is to consider the people. We only have you, and I am asking the commissioner to please not give them this 15% increase. Thank you.
Thank you. Suzanne Franza Valdez. Do you solemnly swear or affirm the comments you're about to give are the truth?
I do.
Suzanne Franza Valdez, SUSANNE-FRANZAVALDEZ. Ms. Coleman, I'd like you to know that I'm here today to see you and the members of the Public Service Commission. I'm here also because I was notified of the hearing today concerning Spire's request for a rate increase. I think it's critical, Ms. Coleman, that for all those people who are here today who are giving you such valid, well-stated request for consideration of whether or not you provide this rate increase. Several years ago, I spent a lot of time looking at how issues related to public service are reviewed and studied by this commission. And what I came to understand was that those of us who are residents of the state of Missouri have little or no knowledge about who the commission is and who these wonderful people are who provide you staff support. I spent almost an entire week after my neighbor had a critical water break that did increasingly, as it went on, damage to their house. It struck me then that there should be some way for individuals who've had that kind of physical damage to their homes to come to the Public Service Commission and say, something didn't work well with the water. So I'm not here really to comment on my gas, but to say to the commission, you have a critical responsibility to the citizens of the state of Missouri to make sure, number one, that the rates are at a payable level, and that when service is needed, that people like the lady and gentleman who are here today know how to let us know how we come to them and say we have a problem. That should be available every day of the week, every month of the year, that we don't rely on this type of an opportunity to talk to you about the problems we're having with public service. I don't know how you solve that problem directly, but our Public Service Council and I have talked about that, and I think that much more should be done to let us know how, when we have questions and concerns about water, gas, heat, cooling, that that's something we can do on an everyday basis. So Ms. Coleman, I'm asking you and the other members of this commission to think about your role serving us, right? Your role is to serve the citizens of the state of Missouri. So I'd like to see and hear you all take more responsibility for that, other than this opportunity to come and talk to you on days like today. Let us know that you're out there and that you will communicate with us on a regular basis. I say thank you to all the people who are here today who have given you their very clear and concise reasons for talking to you today about gas. I'd like to end this, though, by saying something to Spire. I had a problem almost 2 days before Thanksgiving when the house that I rent was frigidly cold. And at 6:30 in the morning, sometime around 6:30 in the morning, I called Spire. And I want to say thank you, because when I made that phone call, almost within minutes, someone was at my front door to say, I'm here to help you, okay? And that gentleman helped me beyond all belief. That gentleman helped me. And I even got the new little meter reader box. So thank you for that. I think you do provide an outstanding service, but maybe there are other ways to think about how we pay for that service. Thank you.
Thank you.
Thank you. Is there a Bruce? Okay. Is there anyone else who would like to offer their comments today? Okay. Commissioner Coleman, would you like to give closing remarks?
Thank you so much, everyone, for coming today. You have certainly provided us with enlightenment, lots of good public testimony. It is appreciated. The commissioners and I do take what you say seriously, and I appreciate the fact that so many have come out in the middle of the day to provide this information. Thank you for your interest. Thank you for your passion. And do know that our goal is to weigh all the evidence and come up with the best possible solution. Thank you so much, and safe travels home.
Thank you, everyone, for appearing today and testifying. If you have any additional comments or know someone who could not be present today but would like to comment, you may make written comments by going to the PSC's website or by contacting the Office of Public Counsel or appearing at another of our local public hearings. This hearing is now adjourned. Have a good day.
Thank you, Judge.